Kanye West may very well have one of the greatest discographies in all of hip-hop. Albums ranging from The College Dropout with its iconic soul sampling to Yeezus and its industrial minimalism. If we're strictly talking music here, his creativity is undeniable. So today I'm going to break down a Yeezus style beat for you and show you all the elements you'll need to really dial in that Kanye West sound. The first thing I started off with was a distorted bass because that's one of the most important elements on Yeezus. You can hear how important this was on tracks like New Slaves, Guilt Trip, and I'm In It. You can achieve this sound with plugins like Decapitator, or you can use stock plugins like Fruity Distortion. Just mess around with the settings until you find something you like. Next, you're gonna need some simple chords. I'm using a 5-1 progression in the key of C minor, so that's G minor going into a C minor, and all I did here is remove the second note, leaving you with the root and the perfect fifth. You're going to want to use anything ranging from pads, keys, even leads to get a sound like this. I'm using Analog Lab with the Refract plugin to give it more stereo depth. Next, we're going to add some strings. Again, keeping it simple by using the same chords, but making it sound larger by adding another layer. Ye loves to use layering to fill out that frequency range, making things sound a lot more complex than they actually are. I used Expand 2 and a Rev Plate reverb for this. Alright, so we currently have bass, pads, and strings as our foundation. You can add as many layers as you want from here using the same chords. I added 2 more layers of strings to fill out the beat. All that's left for the melody is a repetitive lead. Remember, we can create the illusion of complexity by stacking simple ideas together. I used a detuned saw and sky keys with a hyperchorus and a fruity delay for this final layer. We can now move on to the next most important element to capture that Yeezus sound, drums. You're gonna want to use kicks, toms, static, shouting, vocals, snares. You can use almost anything you want to create a rhythm here. Don't be afraid to get creative and come up with something different. The only thing you're gonna want to avoid is hi-hats because that's one of Ye's least favorite drum sounds. We're gonna add a slight switch up at this point. Drop the drums and add a snare pattern like this. Next, we're gonna add an augmented piano in this section using a 1-3 chord progression, so C minor into an E flat major. This is gonna make things sound elegant and majestic like it's building up to something. Added an RC20 retro color, some spring reverb, and some EQ taking out some of the lows and mids. Variation is crucial if you want your beats to sound interesting as they progress. That's why Yeezus sounds so dynamic. It goes through so many different sections and the arrangement is on point. So for this section, we're going to change the pattern on the bass, giving the listener something familiar but new at the same time. Alright, last 2 pieces and we're done. We're going to add a lead run, giving it that Mike Dean vibe, as he was a big collaborator on this album. You can use Analog Lab again for this and throw in some fruity delay. The very last thing I added was a vocal sample over the breakdown and a soul sample outro to give it that final Yeezus cherry on top. So before I play the final beat, let's go over some of the stuff we've covered. You're gonna want distorted bass, simple chords using strings, piano, and synths, but layered to make it sound bigger, a repetitive lead with lots of delay, and super creative drums. Again, don't be afraid to get creative here. Most importantly, have fun. Because music is a never-ending journey and you may as well have fun along the way. So if you've learned anything, leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and let's get into the final beat.